Welcome to Business Line's State of the Economy podcast, where you'll find insight, analysis, and the story behind the numbers.
Hi, my name is Raja Simhan. In this episode, we talk about the horrible train accident that happened in Odisha on June 2nd. The accident was one of the worst in the history of Indian Railways that left nearly 300 dead and over 700 injured. Was the accident a human error? Was it due to the technical fault or was it a sabotage? Lalit Trivedi, the former general manager of East Central Railways with over 40 years of experience in the field of railways, answers these questions and what is the way forward for the railways to prevent such incidents. Let's listen to what Trivedi has to say. So, what are the major challenges for rail safety in India, considering that we had a very bad experience in last week? So, can you just throw some light on it?
Actually, you see, railway is a vast network, and maintenance of the safety assets of railways like track, signals, overhead electric lines, rolling stock, it requires traffic blocks. That means if you have to maintain them, you have to stop traffic, and that means you can't push traffic through the tracks during those hours of blocks, which we in railways terminology we call traffic block. These traffic blocks extends from minimum 15 minutes to 3 hours. Simultaneously, the Indian Railways are under pressure to increase the originating loading to move more traffic. In fact, Railway has kept a target of mission 3,000 million ton to achieve 3,000 million ton of traffic originating by 2030. That means an annual average growth of about 14-15%. So these are contradictory demands. If you have to achieve higher originating loading, you have to use the track to full capacity, and you find that you are not able to spare time, give time for the maintenance blocks. This creates a problem. This results in our major machines, track machines, not getting time for the minimum block period which is required for them.
Okay.
And many of our trunk routes, they are running at 130, 140 times their design capacity. That means they are carrying more traffic than they were designed for.
Okay.
And so when you are having so much pressure to move traffic, you are not able to push traffic. You are not able to give maintenance block at times.
Okay.
And the same, like in this case also, where the accident took place,
Huh.
The apparent reason was that they were doing some maintenance activity for which they should have taken a traffic block.
Okay. Oh.
So now if you will perform something which without taking traffic block, you might end up in the scenario where we were last week.
Okay.
So these are the challenges that we are not able to spare time for the maintenance of the assets.
Okay. Sir, you would have experienced so many such incidents in your career. But how do you see the accident which happened last week vis-a-vis the earlier ones? What could be the difference from your point of view in terms of the complexity, in terms of the magnitude?
You see that a lot of changes have taken place in Indian Railways over a period of 30-40 years. I am associated with that. Speeds in this particular section where the accident took place is 130 kmph. Earlier, the normal speeds used to be 100 kmph. So there is almost 30% increase in the maximum speeds, and the trains were running at these speeds, both the trains, Howrah bound train and Chennai bound train. That is one thing. And secondly, the amount of money which government is pouring on infrastructure investment, like this year we had 2.4 lakh crores of rupees. For the first time, the budgetary support to the Indian Railways budget is 1.2 lakh crore of rupees, which is unprecedented. It is much many times more than what used to be sanctioned in the earlier years. So what has happened, and in India, unlike roadways, where if you have to widen the road, you can always keep the traffic moving on the remainder of the road. In the railways, whether you have to make a subway, where you have to make a ROB, rail overbridge, whether you have to multi-track, you have to make put third line, you have to change color light signaling, you have to convert from diesel to electrified routes, you have to suspend the traffic. So on the one hand, you don't have a time for traffic blocks for the maintenance activities. On the other hand, you are being called upon to give traffic blocks for the infrastructural inputs.
I agree. I agree. So, but there are a lot of reports, and also many of the experts in railways have said that maybe Kavach could have prevented this. Do you have a comment on this? Would Kavach help prevented it?
I put it this way. You see, first of all, this area was not covered by Kavach, number one.
Okay.
And even if the a particular Kavach backbone is provided, like in terms of putting Kavach equipment on the stations, on the level crossings, running optic fiber lines, running various equipments all along the, just as you cannot move an electric loco in a non-electrified line, in the same way, you cannot have the advantage of Kavach in a territory which doesn't have the Kavach backbone.
Okay. Okay.
First of all, this and then all the self-propelled units, which includes not only locomotives, tower wagons, train sets, EMUs, etc. Each and every one of the vehicles should have the Kavach equipment, which in India is expected to take a lot of time. Secondly, the fundamental reason that Kavach would not have of any use in this case is that Kavach prevents the collision between the two trains which are running on the same line and are running into each other. So if you are on the same line and you are running into each other, Kavach senses it and applies automatic brakes.
Okay.
In this case, the three trains which were involved, the first train, goods train, was in an up loop. The second train, Coromandel Express, as per station master's panel, the route was set for the up main line, and the third train was on the down main line. So at no stage the collision took place between the trains which were supposed to be on the same line. So this is a case where Kavach could not have helped the matters.
Okay. And from your side, would you rate this probably the most complicated accident ever?
You see, as per the reports which I have received and the information which I have gathered, apparently there is a level crossing, road crossing inside the station limits. When I say that, I mean that between the up starter signal and the up advanced starter signal, which in railways terminology is known as station limits, there is a road level crossing going.
Okay.
And this is a traffic level crossing which is interlocked.
Okay.
There was some problem with the boom and some work was going on and they wanted to replace. Now, for undertaking a work of this nature, you need to take a traffic block. You need to issue a disconnection memo, and the trains have to work in a non-interlocked fashion, for which a separate SOP is there. You need to issue certain authorities, paper authorities to the trains. The trains need to be piloted, and so whole host of procedure needs to be followed to avoid that somebody who has done, whether his intentions were criminal negligence or criminal intent, that the committee and the inquiry committee which has been set up by CBI will find out. So that this fellow has fooled the system by showing the point number 17A, which is which leads the when a train comes to point 17A in up direction, this point leads the train either to the loop or to the main line. Now, so for it to continue proceeding on the main line, the detections are there. The detection point detections terminals, if they are wrongly set, so the system will assume that everything is clear and it will give line clear for the main line, while the train would be actually entering the loop line. Somebody with criminal negligence or criminal intent has done this activity, which resulted in this catastrophe. So this is something which is human error, criminal intent or criminal negligence, which is the bane of Indian Railways. Most of if you analyze the cause of railway accidents which take place in Indian Railways, most of them are on account of human error. So this is training and upskilling of is the area which needs to be looked into.
Oh, in fact, a lot of news again coming. Is there a possibility of sabotage also? Do you have a view on that?
Well, you see, the sabotage cannot be ruled out because somebody has attempted to fool the system, which resulted in a failure of a fail-safe system. Normally, even if the system fails, it fails on the safer side. That means if there was any problem in the system, the
Mhm.
signals would have become red. In this
Okay.
case, in spite of the track or loop line being occupied by a train, the train was permitted on the same line.
So, but you talked about the training part. Obviously, a lot of, railways do have a very good training facilities, no doubt about it. But what more can be done to train staff especially in things like signaling and looks very complicated also, right?
Yeah. You see, while on the one hand, we always blame that the railway is overstaffed, it is a fact compared to its peer group, other advanced railways like Deutsche Bahn or some other railway systems, it is overstaffed. But the critical areas, there at the same time, there are safety areas where there is a shortage of skilled manpower. In fact, the proportion of unskilled manpower in railways is disproportionately very high.
Okay.
And you need to upskill the training in last few years, because of large scale infusion of funds in the railway infrastructure, the upgradation of technology has taken place, and
Uh-huh.
the staff needs to cope up with the new assets which are being created at a very frantic pace. So
Mhm.
you need to have simulators for everything. You need
Okay.
to be today our training is mostly classroom based, textbook based. Some model rooms are there, laboratories are there. This needs to be changed into simulator based training, so that
Okay.
people, so the person, like we have simulator for the flights in railways. Also, at some places we have got simulator for the running staff, for the drivers.
Mhm.
Same way, loco pilot. Same way, we have to have simulators for station masters, where the real life situations, real life failures can be created, and the response of a railway staff to that situation is evaluated.
Correct. Talking about technology, how are things like the latest technologies like artificial intelligence? Can these replace humans, especially in things like the ones which we saw in terms of signaling and telecommunications, things like that?
Yeah, actually, you see the new gadgets which are being commissioned on Indian Railways, even including this station at where the accident took place, unfortunate accident took place, was having a solid state interlocking system, which is state of the art system. Similarly, a Kavach system is a state of the art system. Our locomotives, each and every one is having an event recorder, a data logger. We call it event recorder. So they are generating all these technological advancements are generating data at a furious pace. And normally, in the good old days, we used to manually analyze with sitting with in a team analyzing these data. But now the generation of data through these gadgets is such a frantic pace that it is not possible for a human being to analyze those data and
Oh,
generate exception report. So
okay.
you need to have AI and machines to absorb these data, make sense out of it, generate exception reports, and then give proddings, pings to the concerned maintenance staff to take necessary action.
Okay. So finally, there are again a lot of people have said that railways has not given enough funds on the issue of safety. Do you subscribe to that view?
Not at all. In fact, the main problem of the railways has been our railway machinery in the field, because of the enormous pressure on the system. Overcapacity utilization is that we are not able to make use of these funds, because for making use of these funds, you need to give traffic blocks, and the traffic blocks can be given only up to a limit. So, therefore, particularly in the critical sections, many places, many times, railway is not able to spend money on account of capacity constraints, and they are not inability to provide traffic blocks for the running trains.
Okay, sir. Let me pause here and thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much.